a bug in the sink.
Okay, this happens all too often that my girls are always like freaking out because, oh, there's a bug in the sink, there's a Isopod in my room, blah, blah, blah. Dad always gets blamed for it. Meanwhile, this is not one of my centipedes. It is now. So let's get this little guy saved. Let's get him set up. So I guess if we're going to be setting this little guy up, first we got to talk about some basics. Now I reside in Manitoba, Canada. And this is a species that's native to Manitoba. It's a bark species or a ground soil centipede. They really don't get much bigger than that. They still are exactly the same style type of a centipede as the larger cousins. And I really strongly recommend, you guys see in the background there, Centipedes in Captivity. This is Orrin McMonagle's book. I have all of his books. This guy has literally written the book on all these topics. It's an exceptional book. It covers all the different genera. Now, there's only one centipede that theoretically is native or endemic to Manitoba, particularly where I live in the eastern region. It's not really much of a pest. I do see them almost every time I flip over a rock. I do see them when we're digging in the ground and stuff like that, doing anything around the farm. They do love nice, moist conditions, moist soils, moist conditions. So I thought, let's see if we can set them up. We've got lots and lots of foods available for them. So we've got some nice natural mosses, we got some bark, we got some native branches, we got some stones, and I've got a nice peat and sand mixture, and the sand is from outside, so it's going to be the same sort of alkalinity, I guess, is what we've got here. And we've got a nice little acrylic unit with some really good ventilation. So put this little guy on a time lapse and let's get him set up. Well, overall, I think it turned out fairly well. Nice little miniature little terrarium. Nice natively inspired with almost everything, literally everything, except for the container, was sourced in nature. We have some different types of lichens up here. We have a nice piece of some sort of pillow moss or something like that on some decaying wood. We've got some nice little different branches and stuff from the trees outside, a little bit of live sphagnum and a couple of rocks. So let's get a nice little habitat for it. One little thing that we still have to add is we still have to add a little tiny water dish. What I like to use for water dishes for these little tiny units are these little things. And these things I've ordered off Amazon, and you guys can see that I'm tattooed, so these are actually little inkwell cups. And they work really, really well for little slings and things like that because they can be hot glued right into the enclosure. They're easy to through, and they're very, very economical, so they can just be tossed if not needed anymore. All right, I think it's time we get this beautiful little girl or guy into her house. I'm going to be using a Q-tip here. You guys can't even see me, so hold on. Let's get a better angle. All right, let's go and get this little pede into its new enclosure. Now, centipedes are actually arthropods, so they're not even insects. And they are true predators. So this little guy here, as you'll often find them inhabiting areas are nice and moist and so forth. I like transferring using things like stuff like, there we go there. And then we'll probably never see him again. Well, there it is there, kind of exploring its habitat a little bit. Or it was. Maybe we should get it some fruit flies and see if it'll come right, wake right up. So I just returned. I've been away for about a week, and I was just going through the animal room, feeding and watering and doing everybody. And I couldn't find this little guy for the longest time, so I still put some fruit flies in there. And about an hour ago, I came back down, and there he is. He or she is still doing fine. By the time, I go and get the camera out, it's already gone and hidden, but it was out and about hunting. So for a nice little native species that I just found, I didn't find this one in my yard, but it's doing rather well. So, if you want to try your hand at before you get into some of the big centipedes, this is a species that is small enough. It's endemic to my range, so it's endemic in certain areas of Canada, and I'm probably sure northern states as well. But this is a species that is so small that it can't actually pierce the skin. So yes, it is a venomous species, the same as its larger cousins, but however, this particular species being so diminutive, cannot actually hurt you in any way whatsoever. So I'm very excited to see that. Very cool. So, till next time, my friends, get out there, explore the world around you, and see what you can find. All right, my friends, take care.